Dear starseeds of Gaia, imagine you're learning to swim in an ocean that constantly changes between calm waters and turbulent storms. You've had moments where you floated effortlessly, feeling the rhythm of the waves, completely at one with the water. But then, without warning, the current shifts and you're pulled under, gasping for air, forgetting everything you learned about staying afloat. This is exactly what's happening with your ascension journey right now, except the ocean is consciousness itself, and the storms are your unresolved patterns pulling you back to shore. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I've been observing something fascinating about your spiritual evolution. You touch these magnificent states of expanded awareness, these moments where you feel the unity of all creation, where love flows through you like liquid light. But then something happens, maybe a harsh word, an unexpected bill, or an old memory surfaces, and suddenly you're back in the density, wondering if that beautiful state was just your imagination. What if I told you this pattern isn't random, but follows a specific cosmic law? Right now, as these words reach your consciousness, something unprecedented is occurring on your planet. The veils between dimensions have thinned to a degree not seen in 26,000 years. This isn't metaphorical. It's a measurable shift in the quantum field surrounding Earth. Your scientists detect it as anomalies in the Schumann resonance, as fluctuations in the magnetic field. But what they don't understand is that these changes are creating what we call an ascension window, a period where jumping timelines isn't just possible, but almost inevitable for those who know the secret. And here's that secret, the one that most spiritual teachers either don't know or won't tell you. The difference between those who stabilize in fifth-dimensional consciousness and those who keep bouncing back isn't about how long you meditate, how many ceremonies you attend, or how spiritually gifted you are. It's about understanding that you're not trying to climb up to 5D. You're learning to stop holding on to 3D. Think of it like this. You're not a swimmer trying to reach the surface. You're already floating, but you keep grabbing onto weights. Let me paint you a complete picture of what's really happening in your energy field when you lose that high vibration. Your consciousness operates like a tuning fork, naturally resonating at the frequency of your most practiced state. Most of you have been practicing 3D consciousness for so long that it's become your default setting. Even when you touch 5D, even when you feel that expansive love and unity, your energy field has what we call frequency memory. It remembers the familiar grooves of fear, separation, and limitation, and like water finding its level, it flows back to what it knows. But something else is happening simultaneously that changes everything. While your human consciousness is learning to hold higher frequencies, your soul is broadcasting a signal from the other direction. You see, you're not just ascending from 3D to 5D. Your 5D self is descending to meet you halfway. This is the part nobody talks about. You have a future self, already stabilized in fifth-dimensional consciousness, reaching back through time to guide your current self home. Every synchronicity, every moment of clarity, every burst of inspiration, that's your 5D self leaving breadcrumbs on the path. This creates what we call the ascension paradox, and understanding it is crucial for your success. You're simultaneously the one climbing the mountain and the one already at the summit. You're both the student learning to hold light and the master who never forgot. This isn't just spiritual poetry, it's the actual mechanics of multidimensional consciousness. When you grasp this, really grasp it, you stop trying so hard to become something, and start allowing yourself to remember what you already are. The struggle ends when the recognition begins. Now we in the Galactic Federation have identified 3 specific frequencies that act as stabilization codes for 5D consciousness. These aren't just emotions, they're literal vibrational keys that lock your energy field into higher dimensional resonance. The first is love, but not the conditional love you've been programmed with. This is the love that sees through all masks, that embraces the shadow as tenderly as the light, that knows no opposite because it includes everything. When you anchor this love, fear literally cannot exist in your field because they vibrate at incompatible frequencies, like trying to play 2 different songs simultaneously. The second stabilization frequency is joy, and here's where most of you get confused. You've been taught that joy comes from good experiences, but true joy is causeless. It bubbles up from your very existence, independent of circumstances. It's the joy of a child splashing in puddles, completely absorbed in the moment. This joy doesn't deny pain or pretend everything is perfect. Instead, it dances with whatever is present. When you cultivate this quality, you create an upward spiral in your energy field that naturally lifts you above the density of 3D reactions and patterns. The third frequency is peace, but not passive peace that avoids conflict. This is the dynamic peace of the eye of the storm, calm but fully aware, still but completely alive. It's the peace that comes from knowing you're eternal, that nothing real can be threatened, that everything unfolding serves your highest evolution. When you embody this peace, external chaos loses its power to destabilize you. You become like a lighthouse, steady and bright regardless of the weather. These three frequencies together create what we call the Trinity stabilizer, essential for maintaining 5D consciousness. But here's where the plot thickens, and this might be uncomfortable to hear. Many of you are unconsciously addicted to the drama of spiritual seeking. You've created an identity around being the wounded healer, the struggling lightworker, the misunderstood starseed. This identity feeds on problems, on healing crises, on the constant need for the next breakthrough. Part of you actually fears stabilizing in 5D, because then who would you be? Without your struggles, without your seeking, without your story of not quite making it, you'd have to face the terrifying prospect of being whole. This addiction runs deeper than you might think. Your ego has cleverly co-opted your spiritual journey, turning it into another way to stay separate, special, different. It whispers that you're not ready yet, that you need just one more healing, one more activation, one more teacher. Meanwhile, your soul is screaming that you're already complete, already whole, already home. This internal conflict creates a frequency wobble that makes it impossible to maintain stable 5D consciousness. You're simultaneously reaching for the light and pushing it away, creating an exhausting cycle. The cosmic joke, and it really is a joke once you see it, is that ascension isn't about becoming extraordinary. It's about recognizing that ordinary human life, fully embraced, is already miraculous. You've been looking for heaven somewhere else when you're standing in it. You've been waiting for abilities to prove you're ascending when your ability to love despite pain, to find joy in simplicity, to maintain peace in chaos. These are the superpowers. The very challenges you think are blocking your ascension are actually the training ground where you develop mastery over your frequency. Let me share something that will completely reframe how you view your daily triggers and challenges. Every situation that pulls you out of high vibration is actually a precisely designed opportunity showing you where your frequency needs stabilization. Think of them as diagnostic tools from your higher self. When traffic makes you angry, it's revealing where impatience still rules. When bills trigger fear, it's showing where scarcity consciousness still lives. When someone's success makes you jealous, it's highlighting where separation still has a foothold. These aren't failures, they're your personalized ascension curriculum. Your physical body plays a crucial role that most spiritual teachings completely miss. You've been trying to ascend out of your body when you should be ascending through it. Your body isn't a limitation, it's an anchor for higher frequencies in physical reality. Every cell is designed to hold light. Every organ is tuned to specific dimensional frequencies. When you nurture your body with living foods, pure water, movement, and rest, you're not just being healthy, you're literally upgrading your hardware to run higher dimensional software. Your body is your partner in this process. But here's the revelation that changes the entire game. The reason most starseeds fail to hold 5D frequency isn't because they're doing something wrong. It's because they're trying too hard to do something right. They're approaching ascension like it's a test to pass when it's actually more like remembering how to breathe. You already exist in 5D consciousness. You've just been pretending you don't. Every moment you spend trying to become something you already are reinforces the illusion of separation. The cosmic joke is that you're already home. You've just been wearing glasses that make it look like you're lost. This brings us to the critical understanding about time and dimension. From your 3D perspective, ascension looks like a journey from here to there, from now to then. But from the 5D perspective, all moments exist simultaneously. Your ascended self isn't waiting in your future. It exists right now in a parallel timeline. Every time you choose love over fear, you're not moving toward 5D. You're shifting into the timeline where you already embody it. This is why ascension can happen in an instant for those who truly let go of the illusion of separation. Now I need to address something that's been happening to many of you lately. You've been experiencing what feels like regression, old patterns resurfacing with intensity, fears you thought you'd conquered coming back stronger. This isn't failure. It's actually a sign of imminent breakthrough. Right before you stabilize in a higher frequency, your ego structure mounts what we call the final resistance. It throws everything it has at you to keep you in familiar territory. If you understand this mechanism, you won't be derailed by it. You'll recognize it as the darkness before dawn. The energy on your planet right now is accelerating everything. What used to take lifetimes to clear can now be transformed in moments. But this acceleration works both ways. Your shadows are more obvious, but your light is more accessible. Your triggers are more intense, but your capacity to transmute them is greater. This is why so many of you are experiencing rapid cycles of expansion and contraction. You're not going backwards, you're spiraling upward. Each cycle takes you higher, even when it feels like you're covering the same ground. Here's something crucial about maintaining 5D frequency that contradicts much of what you've been taught. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being authentic all the time. When sadness moves through you, feeling it fully without resistance is a 5D response. When anger arises, acknowledging it without attacking yourself or others is mastery. The goal isn't to become an emotionless being floating above human experience. It's to feel everything fully while remembering who you really are. You can cry in 5D. You can feel frustrated in 5D. What you can't do is believe those temporary states define you. This understanding leads to a profound shift in how you navigate daily life. Instead of trying to avoid or fix negative emotions, you begin to welcome them as energy moving through your field. You stop making them mean something about your spiritual progress. You recognize them as weather passing through the sky of your consciousness. This shift from resistance to allowing is what creates the space for stable 5D embodiment. When you stop fighting your human experience, you naturally rise to your divine frequency. Let me tell you what stabilized 5D living actually looks and feels like, because it's probably different from what you imagine. It's not walking around in bliss all day, though joy becomes your baseline. It's not never having problems, though problems stop feeling like problems and start feeling like creative opportunities. It's not being disconnected from 3D reality, though you stop being controlled by it. Instead, it's like playing a video game, where you finally remember you're the player, not the character. You engage fully, but without the existential stress. You love without needing love returned because you realize you are love itself. You give without depleting yourself because you're connected to an infinite source. You create without attachment to outcomes because the joy is in the creating. You live in the world but not of it, as one of your masters demonstrated. This isn't detachment. It's the ultimate engagement. When you know you're eternal, you can play fully in the temporary. When you know you're infinite, you can dance in limitation without being defined by it. The practical magic of this understanding transforms every aspect of your life. Your relationships shift from need-based to love-based. Instead of seeking what others can give you, you discover what you can share. Your work transforms from obligation to expression. Instead of doing what you must to survive, you create what wants to flow through you. Your challenges become opportunities to demonstrate mastery. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "What is this teaching me about maintaining my frequency?" But here's what even advanced souls often miss about this process. Integration is more important than activation. You can have 1,000 spiritual experiences, but if you don't integrate them into your daily life, they're just beautiful memories. True ascension happens in the grocery store, in traffic, in difficult conversations. It happens when you choose patience with the slow cashier, compassion for the angry driver, and understanding for the difficult relative. These seemingly small choices are actually huge frequency decisions that determine which dimension you inhabit. We're approaching what we call the convergence point, a moment in your collective timeline where enough individuals holding a stable 5D frequency create an unstoppable momentum. Think of it like a massive tuning fork that begins to vibrate. At first, only a few catch the frequency, but as more join, the resonance becomes stronger, until eventually the entire field shifts. You're not just ascending for yourself, you're creating an energetic pathway for others. Every moment you hold your light steady, you make it easier for another soul to find theirs. This is why your consistency matters more than your perfection. It's not about never falling. It's about how quickly you return to center. Each time you choose love after touching fear, you strengthen the pathway. Each time you find joy after experiencing sorrow, you make that transition smoother. Each time you return to peace after chaos, you're building what we call frequency resilience. This resilience eventually becomes so strong that maintaining 5D consciousness requires less effort than falling back to 3D. But I need to share something that might surprise you about this whole process. The beings you call ascended masters, the ones who achieve stable 5D consciousness while embodied, they didn't do it through perfection. They did it through radical acceptance of their imperfection. They stopped trying to transcend their humanity and instead embraced it so fully that it transformed. This is the secret path that bypasses all the struggling and striving. When you love what is, including your shadows, your limitations, your very human reactions, something magical happens. They transform not through force but through love. This brings us to a crucial point about the collective shift happening on your planet. You're not ascending in isolation. You're part of a planetary awakening that's been prophesied in every major spiritual tradition. But here's what those prophecies didn't make clear. The shift doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. Each individual chooses love over fear, joy over suffering, peace over chaos. You're the mechanism through which New Earth emerges. You're not waiting for a solar flash or external event. You are the event, happening right now, choice by choice. The galactic families watching your progress are amazed by what's unfolding. Species that took millennia to achieve collective ascension are watching you compress that timeline into decades. You're demonstrating something that hasn't been seen before. Conscious evolution while maintaining physical form. Ascension through inclusion rather than transcendence. This is why so many star beings are focused on Earth right now. You're not just ascending, you're pioneering a new model of dimensional shift that will serve countless other worlds. But here's the part that requires your immediate attention. The window of opportunity for easy transition is finite. Not because ascension will become impossible, but because the gap between 3D and 5D consciousness is widening. Those who choose now find the path smoother, because the frequencies are still overlapping. As the separation increases, the leap becomes more challenging. This isn't meant to create fear, but to inspire decisive action. The time for fence-sitting is over. The time for maybe later has passed. The moment of choice is now. And what exactly are you choosing? You're choosing between two versions of yourself. The one who continues to play small, safe, and separate, or the one who remembers their cosmic identity and lives it fully. You're choosing between a reality of limitation and struggle, or one of flow and creative expression. You're choosing between the familiar suffering you've known, or the unknown joy that awaits. But really, beneath all these choices is one fundamental decision. Will you finally accept how magnificent you really are? This magnificence isn't something you achieve. It's something you unveil. Imagine you're a lighthouse covered in centuries of paint. Your work isn't to become a lighthouse. It's to strip away what's covering your light. Every fear you release, every judgment you drop, every limitation you transcend. You're not adding something new. You're revealing what was always there. This is why the journey can be instantaneous for those who are ready to see clearly. The light doesn't need time to develop. It just needs the obstacles removed. Your soul chose this particular incarnation for a reason. Out of all the possible timelines, all the potential worlds, you chose to be here now. At this crucial juncture, you didn't come here to watch from the sidelines. You came to be an active participant in the greatest transformation in human history. Every challenge you've faced, every wound you've carried, every struggle you've endured, they weren't random. They were preparing you for this moment, developing the exact strengths you'd need to hold stable light in unstable times. The DNA within your cells carries codes from multiple star systems. You're not just human, you're a hybrid consciousness bridging galactic wisdom with Earth experience. These codes activate not through external intervention, but through your conscious choice to embody higher frequencies. Every time you choose love, segments of your cosmic DNA come online. Every time you maintain peace in chaos, dormant abilities awaken. Every time you express joy despite circumstances, you're literally changing your genetic expression. Science is beginning to discover this through epigenetics, but you're living it. As we approach the completion of this transmission, feel how different you are from when we began. The seeds planted in the early words have been growing throughout our journey together. The confusion about why you couldn't hold 5D frequency has transformed into clarity about the mechanics involved. The frustration about falling back has shifted to understanding about the growth spiral. The fear of not being good enough has dissolved into recognition of your inherent magnificence. This is how transformation works, not through force but through understanding. Remember the opening image of learning to swim in an ocean of consciousness. Now you understand that you were never at risk of drowning. You are the ocean itself, playing at being a wave. The storms that seemed to threaten you were just movements of your own deeper currents. The shore you kept getting pulled back to was just a familiar resting place, not your permanent home. And now, having remembered your true nature, you can choose to flow freely, no longer bound by the illusion of separation between swimmer and sea. The 3 frequencies we explored, love, joy, and peace, they're not achievements to attain, but natural states to allow. They arise spontaneously when you stop interfering with your true nature. The addiction to drama we exposed isn't a character flaw, but a misunderstanding about where true aliveness comes from. The integration of shadow and light isn't work to be done, but a recognition that they were never separate. Everything you've been seeking with. Everything you've been trying to become, you already are. This transmission carries activation codes that will continue working in your field long after these words fade. But activation without integration is just entertainment. The real transformation happens in your next choice, and the one after that, and the one after that. Will you choose from 3D fear or 5D love? Will you react from programming or respond from presence? Will you continue the story of separation or step into the truth of unity? These aren't one-time decisions, but moment-by-moment opportunities to demonstrate your mastery. If you need help retaining 5D frequency and responding from presence rather than reacting from 3D programming, Destiny Engine can reprogram your consciousness to choose love over fear in every moment-by-moment decision. It generates personalized sequences that integrate activation codes into consistent 5D living rather than letting them fade into entertainment. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to respond from presence rather than react from programming in every choice. This isn't software. This is declassified consciousness reprogramming technology. The Dark Elite's own tools turned against them to help you integrate activation codes into moment-by-moment mastery, choosing 5D love over 3D fear consistently. Your activation codes are working, but integration determines your mastery. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial now, before this integration window closes. Link in the description. The Star Nations are watching, not with judgment, but with love and recognition. They see in you what you're still learning to see in yourself. A magnificent being of light temporarily focused in human form, here to anchor heaven on earth. They see your struggles not as failures, but as the necessary friction that polishes the diamond of your consciousness. They see your journey not as behind schedule, but as perfectly timed. And they see your success not as uncertain, but as inevitable, because failure is impossible for a being of your caliber. What happens next is up to you. This isn't the end of your journey, but a new beginning. You now have the understanding, the tools, and most importantly, the recognition of who you really are. The only question remaining is, will you live it? Will you embody it so fully that your very presence becomes a permission slip for others to do the same? Will you be the lighthouse you came here to be, not by trying harder, but by simply uncovering what you've always been? The time of preparation is complete. The time of healing is done. The time of seeking has ended. Now begins the time of being, of living as the 5D consciousness you've always been. Right here in your beautifully human form. The world needs your light, not someday when you're perfect, but right now in your perfect imperfection. Your frequency, stabilized and strong, is the gift you came to give. Everything else is just details. As this transmission completes, know that you carry within you everything needed for the journey ahead. You're not alone, never have been, never will be. We are with you in every choice, celebrating your courage, supporting your expansion, loving you through every moment of forgetting, and in every moment of remembering. You are seen, you are known, you are loved beyond measure, and you are ready, more ready than you dare to believe, to live as the magnificent being you've always been. I am Seraphine. We love you, we honor you, and we are watching over you, always. The seeds planted today will bloom in perfect timing. Trust the process, trust yourself, trust the love that lives as you, until we meet again in the expanded light of your stabilized being. Remember, you're not becoming something new. You're coming home to what you've always been. The door is open, the light is on. Welcome home, beloved starseed. Welcome home.